I am so grateful that I have Her Majesty Queen Diambi on the Manifesting Your Mission podcast. My dear friend Natalie Pace, who's with Earth Gratitude, spoke so incredibly highly of you, and we're so excited to honor you and just to highlight more of the incredible work that you are doing around the world, and specifically in the Congo and within the communities that are based with the Congo.
Before I start, I have to greet and say, introduce myself briefly. I'm Queen Diambi Kabatuswila Chiomata. So I'm a woman king of the Order of the Leopard of the Bakwaluntu people who are in the Congo DRC. And so I'm the one who's representing them and the heritage that we have and our culture. And so I hold a space for that amazing heritage that I try to represent the best way possible in the world.
Why did your dad hesitate to tell you the reality of his background?
So my father in the 60s was only 17 years old, but although the independence, they gained the independence. So the idea was still that, before the European came, before the Arabs, we were backwards, we were savages, we were magicians or sorcerers, or so all those very abject qualifiers for our people and our cultures. So people just did not want to look back. So those who were able to get out of those rural areas where they kept a lot of these fundamentals, as far as our ancient identity was, those were the people lacking of culture, lacking of education. But the ones who went to the meals of the education of the colonial institutions now had to kind of like forsake all of that. And my father, among so many like him in many countries, did that. So therefore, it was almost something to be ashamed of rather than something to be proud of. So my father concealed that, and especially he came to Europe, he married a European woman, and so they wanted to show, listen, look, I can keep up with the West, and the West is best, and I can keep up, and he did. He became a diplomat, he became an ambassador, and he was a high-ranking officer at the Foreign Affairs Office. So he kept his side of the covenant of becoming the new African for the modern age. But that left many scars, and Africa is now fortunately starting to recover, and many people are starting to do the work to dig out from the grave, the still alive body of our immense heritage. That's the longest human heritage in human history. So that's why he didn't teach us.
Right. And that makes so much sense. Like with Aboriginals or Native American, like with any of the people who really have lived more with the earth and have just this incredible knowledge that ironically many of us are trying to go back to. It's like we've been colonized, and why am I so unhappy? And it's like not being true to the roots of and all the essence that is humanity that we get to tap into. And you're showcasing that in such incredible ways. And I mean, you're doing so many things, but I would love for you to hit on what you're doing specifically with being sustainable, with sustainability, and how and why that's so important to you.
Well, I think it's a lot to do with just, of course, my love of nature to start with. I was a very active kid. Today they call them hyperactives, but we're just normal kids wanting to play. So I was always outdoor. My mother could not have me in the house. So thank God I grew up in Africa. So I was always outside, and there was always a ton of children to play with, not 2 or 3 kids in the neighborhood. We were like 30, 60 kids. So we could not ever be bored. So the playing included, a lot of interaction with trees, especially fruit trees like avocado, mango trees, almond trees. So we would make our headquarters in the trees when mango season came, and we would eat, stuff our face with mangoes. And so the trees were a sanctuary for me. So I remember all these afternoons spent, sleeping on branches, just like literally like the monkeys. And we were so happy and laughing a lot. And also, I love water. So we had a river not far from where I used to live, and we kids would go play in the river. And so all these gifts from nature to give us a ground to care for us and make sure we interacted with all these elements. It left a great impression in me because it gives you strength and resilience when you know that you have those days where you can just go dive in the river and laugh and run around and also barefoot with
Yes.
in the sand all over the city because we didn't have those fancy streets. So a lot of the streets were just in the city, but where I lived, it was modest. So there was a lot of sand everywhere. So the kids were always barefoot. Today they call it grounding. So, today it's chic. But back so I look at these poor little African kids running around no shoes. But those are the premise of my deep connection with the earth and with nature. But also because of the heritage that I reconnected with my African heritage. But we have to also say that my European heritage too, because see, when the Roman Empire rolled in Northern Europe or Western Europe, the people were very nature centered as well. The women especially were very close to nature, and they were doing medicine, and they were doing beautiful ceremony for the trees and the moon, and so they also were eradicated because when the Roman Empire rolled in with all the imposing they've used, and especially with also we have to say with Christianity. So when I say about my African heritage, I think that's a human heritage that we all had initially, and so connecting with that as well. Because when I became a queen, you go through different processes of initiation to kind of like ground you into who you are and what you are here to do, and become conscious about your power, become conscious about your ability to bring impact. But these rituals and these work oftentimes involve connection with nature to learn how to listen again, because we lost that. We have all of that. We can listen to trees speaking. We can literally go to a river and listen and interact with a river or with the ocean and with animals and things like that, because we are so part of the ecosystem. We are not out of it, but we chose to become out it. And now basically those rituals are there to teach you how to reconnect yourself, how to reclaim your place among all the living, those you can see and those who you cannot see. But it's such a complex system that for me, one of my passions is to help people realize how important it is for us to be sane human beings, to reconnect with all that is us, that is the entire ecosystem of nature that's around us, because it's us. We are made out of it. And so how can you walk around living a life with missing out like maybe 90% of who you are because you disregard nature, or you make nature a thing instead of the complex being that it is, and that you are part of and that you are from. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about protecting the environment. Is not just in a vacuum the environment, but it's also the environment because we are it. So when we destroy nature, we are destroying us too. It's not just, we killing nature, we killing the nature that is within us too. And at every step we push, we lose our humanity. We use another chunk and piece of it. And how far can we go until we become just human and no longer human beings? And that is going to lead to a lot of atrocities that we can already see, coming, despite the fact that we have great experience behind us. We have history, we have learned everything, and we're still doing the same thing, but this time with greater potency to really annihilate our very nature. And I'm talking about us.
Yeah. Well, and as you're speaking about this, I had become a Reiki practitioner. I don't know if you know about Reiki energy, but you realize that we can tune in to this beautiful energy. And like you're saying, then you can have connection with the environment in a different way. And you realize we are all connected and we have
Mhm.
disconnected from all of that. And is that part of why you created, and I believe you also designed your clothing line? Is that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Is this
Yes.
is this one of your pieces that you're
Yes.
wearing?
That's five pieces. Yes. I don't know
Oh,
if you can. Well,
gorgeous.
like yeah, with birds. It will be with birds or flowers or something.
I love
I,
it.
yeah, I think it's really important to connect or learn how to reconnect with that energy that we are just a manifestation of that energy that structure itself in this way or that way that makes it look like a river, or this way that makes it look like a coconut tree, or this way that makes it look like a human being, or a bird, or a cat. So it's the same source, it's the same energy, but just a different configuration. So
Mhm.
to connect with everything allows us to be plentiful in the ability to shine our light and to be a blessing
Yes.
for all the people that we come in contact with, and all the environments that we come in contact with. I did start designing my line in 2017 because I was crowned in 16, and I managed with what I could find, but I realized I needed to have my own image. So I had to create my own style of clothing that is a bit mixed between my Western heritage and my African heritage, and also to showcase some of the most prominent designs from Africa, from Congo, and also some of our values. As you can see, I walk around with birds, and I have a lot of motifs that are traditional African motifs on my clothing, also a lot of fractal mathematics, the different colors. And there is a resonance to that as well, because if I'm going to be out in the world, I want to be a blessing. And be a blessing doesn't mean that I have to go and do Reiki on people necessarily. I'm also a Reiki master, by the way, or give a good word. Sometimes it's just about you being you and just standing there. And so using, myself as a billboard basically to emit, positive vibration from the different colors I wear, or the different designs that are always very symbolic and have a teaching to them. All the symbols that we use in Africa, all as you can see, they have meanings to them. It's not just, oh, it's pretty. We usually never did things just because it was pretty. Like art, the concept of art is not so prominent. We always beautify everything, beautify life, but the life had to have meaning. So when I wear these beautiful fancy dresses, it's different things. One, I want to showcase the talent of the designers of the Congo, and the craftsmanship and the ingenuity and the capability to do amazing things with so little resource, because some of my clothes are made without electricity, like with those old Singer machines still with the pedal. And because some of my designers, they don't have electricity in the neighborhood they live, but yet when I put one of their dresses in like the most prestigious gala, or at the Emmy Awards, and it's a testimony to our resilience and our capabilities, and it's to showcase, hey, this is Africa. And despite that, the perception is, oh my God, it's so poor, people are starving and they're cutting each other with machetes, and they are witches and demons. And it's like, wow, look at what comes out of this. If this is what we do with so little, imagine what we can do when we have more, when we have. So that's one thing. The second thing is, I want to showcase that we can dress with sustainable
Yes.
fashion. So I am not 100% there yet. Because it's not my field. I'm not. That's not, fashion is not my field. But my ambition is to really showcase that we can use natural dyes. We can use a hemp, or pure, maybe not cotton, because cotton uses a lot of water, but hemp fibers, and also traditional fibers like raffia, with minimum invasion, like a chemical invasion techniques to make the fiber wearable. So, and using also the ancient traditional weaving techniques and things like that. So I incorporate a lot of this in my fashion line to showcase that as well, that I'm mixing the ancient heritage with the new, to showcase that we have an advantage to bring the new with us as well. And of course, the other thing is to show all women, not just African women to start, but also all women, that we decide to set the standards. It doesn't have to be only some top designers in Milan, or we can decide how we want to look. And if I want to look like a bird, or a bird, it's my choice, and we decide what is business casual in my culture. So if I want to go to a business meeting looking like this, it's my decision. And I have a right to my cultural affirmation. I don't, and I want to give also women options and say, I want to look like a bird today, or I want to look like a flower, and I want to be different than the norm. Why not? It's an option. And I think women are gorgeous no matter where they come from, and they're all gorgeous with all colors. So when I hear people say, oh, but those colors suit you well because of your tan, and I say, wait a minute, do we have a police that's like a color police somewhere that I should be aware of? Because for me, it doesn't matter who says. Who's the one who's giving a dictate about, oh, because you this color, you can't wear this? Who cares? So it's kind of like have the option to have fun and be different and dare to be you and dare to splash yourself with color in the middle of the winter. Why wear black and gray and brown in the winter when we need bright yellow to be happy? So it's kind of like a bit of a message. But then what I ultimately want to do is if I have a good partner who can help me develop this fashion brand, it would be to create sewing studios for young people who are in the fashion industry who do not have access to all the tools and technology to do the most amazing clothes, and to give them basically access to that and some funding eventually after they start selling their goods and their creations, so they can go on their own and they can become independent.
Yes. And it's so wonderful because I know you use local African seamstresses and you want natural fibers. And most people are not aware of why that is important, and also how there's so many discarded clothing in the Chilean desert. Will you just speak a little bit about that?
Yes, it's a disaster, and unfortunately, Africa has become also like a dumping ground. And so it's not just the clothes. The clothes is one of the biggest, because the textile industry is the most polluting industry in the world, because they pick the cotton from Africa and then they transport the cotton to China mainly. So which is an enormous water cost and an enormous cost of transportation, all the boats and the fuels and all that is costing. Then they manufacture in very difficult conditions, and the standards of industry, of the textile industry, unfortunately, have not caught up with the problem of pollution and the impact in the environmental impact. So we produce in any kind of way because we're so concerned about making profit. Everything has to be made cheap so we can make more money. And we don't care if we're going to go dump all the chemicals for the coloring and all of that. So it's, and then after that, when they produce all this stuff, then they ship them back again to Africa. If we have new, then we're going to have new and cheap. So that means that the worst quality of textiles, the worst quality of the chemicals involved in coloring, and the worst conditions of work for the people who are doing that as well. So we have to be concerned about them too. And then we have also the second hand, or we call it lift and throw. In Congo, we call it tombola boaka, means we lift it and threw it. So that's the lift and throw industry, where we basically the garbage can for all the textile that the Europeans don't want anymore, and the Americans don't want anymore. And I understand. I'm not blaming the people who donate, because it's better to give another life to the clothes. So to recycle the clothes is not a bad thing, and it's very generous of the people who are donating. So I don't want to discourage that, but they have to know that at the end of the chain, there is no contingency for what damage these leftover clothes will generate. So they end up in the landfill, and it's horrifying what they do to the water, to the earth, and they're destroying entire ecosystems. And to be able to produce our clothes locally with local material, natural fibers, to promote that industry is really important, especially that in the 50 years to come, Africa will have doubled in population. So they're not gonna go run around, clothes. They're gonna need more clothes. So if we have to continue this crazy cycle, well, we heading for a disaster. I mean, we already in a disaster, but then it's just a faster, accelerated rate disaster.
Right. And so, what are some simple ways that we can make better choices for more sustainable clothes?
I think one of the main way for me in Africa is to encourage local production of and local seamstress, like production of clothes. But the problem is, I'm hit I'm hitting a wall because the cost. People don't have that much money. So between buying a piece that's gonna maybe cost $10, like a piece, and then going to a seamstress that may ask you for another $20, $30 is a lot of money. When with $30 you can dress your entire family with lift and throw clothes that you're gonna get in a bundle from America, and then you wash them nice, you iron them, and here you are dressed. You have an entire family dress. So there's a problematic of cost and poverty, and keeping people in poverty will impact all the choices. So yes, I would like to see more production on the ground, more, let's say if we do cotton, that we do the cotton and we develop our own industry on the ground. I would love to see more hemp used, because hemp use, I think, 3 times less water than cotton. And so it's also very sustainable. I would like to see more linen, maybe all those natural raffia material, and how we can rehabilitate also the ancient weaving techniques, and also ancient coloring techniques that we used to do with natural dyes and things like that, and promote those industries as an artisanal industries, also for to empower communities and people, women in the field. So with just changing one thing that may seem insurmountable today, by perfecting the process and encouraging these kind of investment, I think we can also help transform economies if we produce locally for local consumption, and cut all the cost of export, import, and all these pollution that we are doing with the transportation and the fuel, and all the fuel dumping in the oceans and things like that. So that's my way of looking at things.
Okay, and one last question about the clothes, because I'm so fascinated. But is there a way that our listeners, myself, can purchase items like, I mean, not your amazing dresses, but that come from the seamstresses that you're working with? Is there a way?
Well, there are some designers that are proposing online some ways to buy African clothing, and they are formidable ones, absolutely. However, I have not yet developed a brand to sell. So right now, my brand is more like a showcase brand, and every single piece is unique. And but my ambition is still to become one day producing a line that would be, there's the Queen Diambi line, because I want every woman to feel like a queen. And I would love to do that, but it's not my specialty, it's not my job. And so because I put it out there, and I'm looking for people who would be interested in saying, you know what, we got something there. Maybe we can develop something. And of course, I could be a prototype. It doesn't have to be exactly like the things that I would do, but it would be a line that is in that spirit, the spirit of showcasing beauty, grace and style, and elegance from Africa, inspired by the colors, by nature, and then using natural fibers to craft amazing, beautiful dresses and garments for women. And yeah, I would love to have a partner who would say, Queen, I kind of like that idea, and I think that we can do something great, and then create an entire ecosystem to help young people and women, especially in the field of fashion in Africa and in Congo, especially because we're just amazing in Congo.
Yeah, I love that. Well, hopefully one of our listeners will get in contact with your people to be able to make that a reality sooner than later.
Yes.
What is a quote that is important to you?
Um, I would say it's an adage. It's like a say that we say in Africa. It says, when you want to go far fast, go alone. But when you want to go far, go with others. So as far as I'm concerned, I want to go far. I had to go fast, and I did a lot on my own, and I'm okay with all of that. But I feel like now I want to go far, and I think we have to do that, to reconcile with each other, because to get out of this situation we got ourselves in will require us to really commune together, will require us to break the walls, and to retain, of course, our great diversity, because that's, for me, it's wealth. I wouldn't want to take away diversity at all. Thank God we are like a bright bird with all these feathers. We look all different, we think different, we're so amazing, but we also need to reconcile, and in order for the bird to fly, the beautiful, multicolored bird to fly, it needs to be together. All the feathers have to fit and work in conjunction with the whole system so that that bird can take off. And I think humanity has still some amazing strides to do, but it will only come when we realize that we have to really change our posture with each other, and that we are so much more alike and we have a best interest in working together.
I couldn't agree more. And then who's been a mentor or an influencer for you in your life, in your journey?
It's the lady that won, the African lady that won the Nobel Peace Prize for planting trees, for replanting trees. Gawari, I think her name is. And she won. She's the first African, I think, to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And she basically did a lot of work for community development, for women empowering, for replanting, reforesting. And so she just inspires me because I want to be like that when I grow up. I don't know about Nobel Peace Prize, but she deserved it. And she showed that we can definitely create alternative models. And yeah, so and Africa has solutions, and we don't have to wait for other people to come and do things for us. We can definitely find endogenous solutions to our problems, and so she inspired me in that way.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And then lastly, my last question is, what are you promoting that we haven't yet spoken about, and how can people further support all that you're doing? Obviously, they're not going to be reaching out to you directly, but just to be able to continue to follow all of the magic that you're advancing.
So I think I brushed on most of the things that I do that I'm interested in doing. The first one being definitely building bridges between people. So I do travel a lot. I go in many places in the world. I'm also queen in Brazil, so I'm Grande Mãe do Povo do Bantu do Brasil. So I represent the African heritage of Brazil, like the connection with the African heritage of the Brazilian people of African descent. I also am Reina de los Congo de Panama, same thing in Panama for the people who are Congo descendants. So I always love to talk about culture and explain to people Africa is abundant, is an amazing home to humanity, and they owe to take another look and to change their perspective on Africa and help them reconcile with the continent that holds the 80% of the entirety of human history. We lived it only there, and we're still living there. But for all those who are outside, they have to remember that 80% of our existence as humanity happened on that continent, and we did amazing things throughout that time. We discovered the stars, we mapped the stars, we learn about food, we learn about navigation, we learn about spirituality, we language, we developed tools, we developed music. So many things happened there first before we took all that to leave with it. So to learn about that continent for me is fundamental, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's our home. And if we understand we have all a vested interest in seeing that continent do well, it can always be our safe haven for humanity to go resource ourselves. So then the second thing is, of course, my work with the water. That's the most important for now. And the children, of course, the orphanages. And I have, of course, the little projects that I'm doing with my fashion. And I'm also very much engaged into forest preservation of forests, sacred forests, with an organization in France. And so the knowledge about our heritage, about forest, about protecting the environment and the water, forest and water, those are systems that are, of course, codependent, is really important for me. So I have a non-for-profit organization in New York. It's called the Elikia Hope Foundation. And that's the organization I use to bring clean water and to help the orphanages and to do some cultural activities where I bring people and children together to learn about our heritage and spread it. And other than that, any support of any kind, just like a thumbs up or like a cheer sometimes, the days that we kind of like have a hard day, it's great. So that's the togetherness I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be necessarily somebody putting, million on the table. Sometimes a cheer or an encouragement can go a long way into making a difference.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This has been the most beautiful interview. You are such a light. I can't wait to read your book. And then I know your story will be on the screen. It needs to be. Please send me your book or let me know so I can promote it. And then also get your story out to people in Hollywood if you want that support. I am just so honored to have you on my podcast. You are a just living example of beauty and wisdom and dancing to create ripples of change. And
Thank you, and thank you to also Natalie that made this amazing connection. And this is what we do for each other. We support each other in whichever way so that we can shine our best light. Because when it's bright, the sun shines for everyone. So.
Well, and also just to hit back on what you were saying earlier about the media, there are so many amazing people doing amazing things. And if we can continue to highlight that, we will see again that we are more alike than different. We can heal the divide, and we just need to keep paying attention to that and create the ripples of change that we need, because
yes,
we need more love.
Ashe. Yes, to that. Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you so much, Her Majesty, Queen Diambi. It's been such an honor, and I will be your biggest fan moving forward.
Thank you. It was my honor to be here and share this moment with you and the people that follows your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aye, aye, aye.